Howdy y'all, it's Brother Damon, Damon Chief Jones. You like my toga robe? I got that because I got sunburned at the beach out there trying to do audits in Northwest Florida. Anyway, we agreed to take all the kids to the beach, and so we wasn't having any good fortune, or some people call it luck. I don't call it luck, I call it blessings, but we didn't have no good blessings to capture anything that we thought was important or worthy of posting, so it was a consensus. So anyway, we went to the beach for a couple hours, and so the program was, after the beach, we'd try again. After the beach, it didn't work out. Now, on to my current story. Olmos Park, Texas police, radical tyrant chief of police and officers. Let me tell you, I probably, between emails and phone calls, other media information that's come to me, I don't know if it's 200, but it's a little less or a little more than 200. I'm just going to call it 200 people have specifically asked me to go for 101 different reasons. Some of the auditors have told me specifically in open forum, bring a long rifle. I said, okay, well, I'll bring an AR-15. They said, bring a side firearm also. Make sure they got rounds in the chamber. Some just posted, I believe some of it's posted out there in the open. Some of it's in phone calls and stuff, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, I've been encouraged to go ahead and go out there and carry the long gun and the pistol, which I'm under federal law, H.R. 218. I'm an honorably retired law enforcement officer, and all my firearms qualifications are up, etc., etc. So I'm exempt from everything anyway. Even if they had this city ordinance back and I went down there wasn't nothing they could do to me because I was under federal law. So, they just couldn't have. But anyway, the point is, their officers are radical and do irregular, illegal behavior, conducts, tactics, strategies. Anyway, I've been in contact with News Now Houston, and I know I'm going to hook up with him, Mr. Steve over at PNP. I've sent a message, and I think Texas Sheepdog 72 has it, or it's at least where I'm coming. C.J. Grisham, the Open Carry Texas guy, he's linked up with all my people, so he knows, or is about to know, I'll be on my way. I've talked to News Now Patrick, and we may ride together or hook up before we get there together and stay for a day or two or three. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But yes, I am traveling there. I've expended a lot of funds, and I'm kind of on some borrowed money right now. And there's about a half a dozen people that have given me some money in the last 3 weeks to help out with some various things, totaling around $90 or so. Thank you. You know who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, I'm wearing this because I'm sunburned and I can drape it across me so I don't be creepy. Anyway, let me tell you about Olmos Park. This place is 6/10 of a square mile. Okay? A whole town that is 1 square mile by 1 square mile, so it's a mile long and a mile wide. Okay, that's considered a tiny town or a tiny city. And the difference in a city and a town from state to state, or a village, a borough, there's a few other distinctions for that municipality. Means, do you have a city council and mayor government? Do you have a council and city manager? And it tells what kind of federal grants or state grants you can get or can't get. So it creates a different form of government. Just like when something is a territory versus when it's a state. As to how much ruling power it has there locally, and in some places they have a thing called a home rule where they have more authority and do things. Some do not have home rule. So there's a lot of different peculiarities there. But anyway, any municipality or political subdivision in Texas State Republic That's the true lawful name of it, if you get down to it. But in some papers, it would say the state of Texas. And Governor Greg Abbott made them change papers, and the governor sealing other things to say the state of Texas, because that was in the 1845 State Declaration of Independence. That was also our treaty coming into the United States. But this guy, from what I can understand, has about 3 years experience. Well, people, a man or woman with that little experience doesn't need to be a chief of police anywhere. Okay? Anywhere. Period. I realize that the town is less than 2,500. I think it's 2,213 or something like that. I might be off slightly. You can Wikipedia it or look it up on city data, look up the Census Bureaus, but I know it's under 2,500. And it's only 1/2 mile, or actually 6/10 of a mile. So 5,200 and some odd feet, I forget what it is, makes a mile long, and then 5,000 some odd feet a mile wide. That's tiny. Now go down 40%, so you're like 2,700 feet. I mean, I can stand here and I can probably put News Now, if he's not in a hole, I can probably put him standing, if he's got some kind of flashlight or something, and flashing, I can see him down there at the other end, and I can flash and he can see me. That's how short a distance it is. And we could go the other direction. Now, it is shaped according to their map. It's L-shaped. I don't know which direction it was showing, north-south direction, but it's an L shape. So, anyway, it doesn't even extend that far because it extends further out at the bottom. So, it might be just like 1,800 foot long. You just got to imagine, go in your car tomorrow if you get a chance and put your odometer at 0 or see where it is. Some starting point, drive 6/10 of a mile. Okay, so it'll just say 06. It's on the last digit. The white digit in there will roll around. When it gets to 6, that's the length of the entire city. If you drove that and then you took that and drove to the right or the left of that and drove 6/10 of a mile, squared it off, that's the size of the city, except it's smaller because it bows out in one part. Okay, so I'm just trying to get you to see how small this is. Okay, I mean, a lot of shopping malls, like Town East Mall in Mesquite, I'm sure that if you encompass the parking lot, you got the city of Olmos. That's how big it is, okay? So probably a chief of police, a part-time officer, or a couple part-time officers and 2 reserves would be enough to take care of that place. Okay, it's just tiny. They have 12 or 13 full-time officers according to the paperwork I've seen, and I've talked to a few people, so the numbers fluctuate 12 or 13. I will not be able to talk to nobody at TCOL, which used to be TCLOS, Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Officer Standards and Education, now called Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Officers, I think. Anyway, I can't talk to nobody down there to verify any statistical data till Monday. Anyway, I'm going to try and get some more facts and figures. And why does that matter? Well, if you got some places that small and you got that many men working, it says something about you. If you're a all-black community, for example, and somebody goes in and they create an enclave, a city within a city, and they carve out this little bitty, excuse me, I got some allergies along with all this other stuff. I'll be okay, praise the Lord. So say you create this little cutout area in the middle, and you create this 12 or 13 man force plus whatever reserves they have, yada yada yada, okay, in this tiny little place, and 97% of the people are white, and in expensive homes, and you look on Google, not Google, I guess it is Google Earth, look on there, which I have, and start looking around at the number of swimming pools that all these places have. Well, usually homes with swimming pools are more valuable. So you look around in this little area where they are and see the number of swimming pools. Then go out in the other areas and look and see the types of houses they have and see if they have swimming pools. And you can see a distinct difference at the city limits around this tiny little town that probably has 3 or 4 times too many police. So why did this city, which is in the middle of San Antonio, which is Hispanic, Latino, and depending on who you talk to, and it's been, we're 8 years from the last statistics, so some people say San Antonio is 50%, some say it's 62%. I don't know who to believe, but I've been through San Antonio many times, and I would say that the ratio of Hispanic, brown, Latino people there is probably in the neighborhood of 50% plus. So in Olmos Park, if the city was not designed to cater to rich white folks in a super oversized police department to protect theirselves and make crazy, outrageous laws that the Texas legislature said you cannot do, and they did it anyway, they're an outlaw city. They're a problem child city to start with. So the people that made this were wrong. Every mayor and every city council since then who has not done away with it is wrong. And these people are aware of how their police are operating, so they're aiding and abetting criminal activity. So they make illegal laws. The police know that they can't do it. Just like Hitler during war, he told generals to do this, this, and this, and they went and done it. Okay, they were still guilty of war crimes. Okay, so you can't just shoot somebody, arrest somebody because the mayor said so, or there's some ordinance. If the ordinance is unlawful, you have a duty to question it. You have a duty, a conscientious duty. That's why, like Jehovah's Witness, some people love them, some people don't. But I'm using for an example, they are a conscientious objector to military service. Muhammad Ali was a Muslim, and he had a conscientious objection to military service. All people in the military and all law enforcement and all government officials have a right to their conscience. Okay? Your conscience is God speaking to you, but even in secular form, it means your sense in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, as a being, to say something is unethical, it's immoral, it's illegal, it's wrong. So, when people, that these police are not certified, but licensed peace officers under Texas state statutes by TCLOs, okay, they know that them laws are illegal. So they knew not to enforce them. The chief of police had a duty to inform the mayor and the council that this should be repealed because it was unlawful. And whether they repealed it or not, that he would not, or have his officers would not enforce it. But he is power-hungry, radical tyrant. Okay? News Now Houston David said, I'm calling for the police department to be disbanded. And he's never asked that before. I argue the same thing. Disband this police department. And because the city officials have violated the law to this extent and violated people to this extent, and they're a tiny enclave, that the city should be abolished. The Texas legislature should recall the charter for the city, and then it would either be unincorporated area in the county, or by vote, or whatever the law is at this particular time, then the city of San Antonio could take it in. because when you get right down to it, anything serious that happens there, they have to call San Antonio police for backup. Any fires, they got to call San Antonio. So San Antonio's already providing backup services for them anyway. So this little half-mile area would be nothing for San Antonio to take up. San Antonio police, from what I hear, I mean, they got to drive through there to get from one area of San Antonio to another all the time. Unless I'm misunderstanding something, but I'll be there live and in person on March the 7th. So I've been writing on the other auditors' channels. So I don't think I'm nobody special. I just have some gifts of God and some training, some experience. So I'm saying this because some people have asked me, they said, can I get your autograph? Sure, that's fine. They said, can I get a selfie with you? Yes, that's fine. So I get these emails asking me, am I going? Some saying, please, please go. We need your caliber and your experience there on the scene. And I said, I've said, originally I was planning on going, but I have to see. Well, now it's definite. When I say definite, 99%. I always look to the possibility that, you know, there could be an automobile breakdown, something could happen in my health or in my family that could stop me. But 99% chance I plan on being there. And I plan on being there at least 24 to 36 hours ahead of time in a nearby location that's safe outside of their jurisdiction where they can't get their hands on me. And I have good video equipment. There'll be a lot of auditors there. From what I can tell, people ain't just coming there from Texas. There's people from other states that are coming there, especially auditors. And that there might be some major news media there. So I've got some people whispering in my ear some things that they're hearing that's the scuttlebutt. Sometimes scuttlebutt's true, sometimes it's not. So it's a 50-50 if we're going to have major media outlets there. I've also been told that the constable's office in that area, as well as the sheriff's deputies and San Antonio police, are going to be on standby and call out. So best as I can figure, in this little half-mile town, we may have an additional 200 or more uniformed officers. Some people may be on horseback, some on motorcycles, some bicycle police. So it looks like it's going to be a major turnout. This is going to be one of them things like Clive and Bundy. Remember the Clive and Bundy debacle with the federal government, and they had to stand down and back up? Well, I think this is one of them things, but it's dealing with the Second Amendment. It's a different part of the Constitution because they wasn't arguing with nobody about guns out there that I can remember. And I know a lot of militia people went out there. Also, I know militia people throughout Texas are going to this event. Some will have weapons displayed, some will not. Some are going in uniform, some are in plain clothes. Unless they change their mind, this is what I've been told. Have some militias from some other states that's appearing. Whether they'll be in uniform or not, I don't know. But I'm asking you, if you love America, if you support the Constitution, if you support the Texas State Republic, please come on out and show your support. I'm asking you to be peaceful, to us have peaceful assembly, to protest, to redress government, to act as the Founding Fathers set out in the Texas State Republic and in the Union Covenant of the United States of America. So I will be, I'll have at least 2 recording devices, and if I get enough funds, I'm going to purchase a 3rd recording device, and I'm trying to get up with News Now Houston David or PNP News or little brother Patrick over at News Now Patrick, and let them get my devices set up, because I'm not a genius. But if they can fix it where I'll go live and capture what I can on live and then record it. Then I'll have 2 more. So, you know, a few $100 for gas, lodging, and food, and whatever like a GoPro thing goes for, and the strapping system. I want to get one of those. And hopefully I can get a few $100s in contributions. I've already made arrangements to borrow some money because I'm out of money. So I'm borrowing some money to make the trip. And if y'all can do the rest, it'll help out. If not, I got to go borrow the whole thing. I'm doing it for Texas. I'm doing it for Texians. That's what the people were called in 1845. They were Texians. Somebody tried to change it to Texan, but the true word is Texian. T-E-X-I-A-N. In fact, Texas has a Jural Society. It's Texian Jural Society. And they teach the Constitution for Texas. They teach the Republic laws. And they teach the things that are repugnant to the Constitution or non-enforceable if they were never written. And that's been in Supreme Court decisions. So please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please send this to your other friends. I've done a lot of good videos, I think. I've done some that ain't so good. I'm new to this. I got like 9 or 10 months into this thing. So I'm learning and I'm growing. And I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching me. Please send this to some of your friends and ask them to subscribe. Ask them to watch me. And I'm about halfway or so to my what they call watchable minutes. So I might have a 20-minute video and somebody watches 5 minutes, so they skip around and hit a minute here and a minute and a half there. They're not watching the whole thing, and I lose hundreds and hundreds of minutes every so many days. Well, I'm halfway there, and as soon as I get that where I can have AdSense, then I will no longer be in a position to ask people to contribute. I mean, I will let it be available. Some people want to mail in some cash money, or they want to mail some silver or gold. I've had that happen before. It's been a good while back, but it did happen. So I did it. Most people's PayPal. A few people have wrote a check. That's happened too. But I'd say 90% or more is PayPal. And I'm Daymond, D-A-Y-M-O-N-D 4040 at yahoo.com. Daymond4040 at yahoo.com. If you can PayPal me, it's the fastest and best thing. And I'm going to have to drain the little bit I got out of PayPal plus what I borrowed to just scrape by to maybe make it. But the longer I can stay, the more I can do. And I'm trying to make arrangements with one auditor, who I can't say right now, to maybe do some audits in San Antonio and some other places while I'm in the area and extend my stay. If I got the money, I can do it. If I don't, I can't. Thank you. God bless you. I love you. And again, I'm sorry about this towel, but due to my sunburn, I had to do something. I am healing. Pray for my continued healing so I can get on out there and do this thing. And I just don't know. I love y'all. I really do. And a couple people told me an email and it touched me. It brought me to tears. They said, you know, you're such a likable guy. You're easy to approach. You can tell your sincerity. You're not a hothead. You're not an agitator. You're a godly man. You're a constitutional man. You're a righteous man. If somebody deserves a pat on the back, you give it to them. If they deserve a pass, you say it. If they fail, you say it. You call it straight and honest. That's how I've lived my whole life. If I can't do like that, I'm ready for God to come get me. Okay? Love y'all. Have a great, great time and come support us March the 7th. That won't be tomorrow as in Saturday. That'll be the following Saturday. And the last word I heard was 12 noon. Now I'm sure Patrick over at News Now Patrick and News Now Houston, David, they will be giving some more updates on it. I'm sure Texas Sheepdog 72 will be giving some updates. And I know people keep telling me I say it wrong. SDSA Prez. I can't say Todd's channel's name, and I'm sorry. But when I see Todd live and in person there, I'm going to say, help me learn how to say your name properly. And I'm going to get me some selfies with the other guys, or a group selfie or whatever. And I may get some pictures and may get some pictures made up and get us to autograph them, and maybe we'll send them out to people that support our channels. Just a thought. Just a thought. So you get something for your contribution. Thank you one more time. God bless you. And may you have a super great Jesus Day. And Easter's around the corner. Happy Easter, everybody. Aloha from Brother Damon Chief Jones, out here for you, my brothers and sisters in Christ, and even if you're secular, got a different religion, to protect your rights so that nobody don't do you wrong, especially government servants, our servants, our servants, our servants, our servants. They're our maids and our butlers. They're our negotiators. They are to work and labor on our behalf, not to make their pockets thick, and not to corruptly throw people to the ground and tase people like they did with old C.J. and bust his head open. Boy, it makes my blood boil. I mean, I heard David in there telling the chief, he's injured, and they delayed his medical treatment. That's a form of torture. Boy, I can't think about this much more. I'm going to blow my top and say some bad words, so let me get off here and pray. God bless y'all. Bye.